Is back. Yes, let's have a stretch. Maybe we shake a little bit. Hello world. It is your girl Michelle Canan, also known as the Satisfied Wife. Welcome. If you are joining me today live, leave a comment and say hello. If you are catching me on the replay, do hashtag replay so that I know that you are here. And today we're talking about something that's a little vulnerable and that's quite a bit taboo, especially for empowered women such as myself, especially for powerful boss ladies such as myself. And that's all about the juicy experience and the, quite frankly, sometimes terrifying experience of feminine surrender. Now, if you'd asked me a year ago, no, maybe not a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if I'd ever be talking about this topic, I'd be like, bitch, you crazy. I had no concept about this energetic way of playing. I had no idea about what was possible for myself and for many other strong women in relationships with their male partners. And that's why I'm here, because there's a lot of myths and misconceptions out there about partnership, especially about partnership when it comes to men and women in long-term romantic relationships. But there's a reason I'm called the Satisfied Wife. And that is because what I teach and what I know how to do is leverage my relationship, my marriage, to be a vessel for healing and for growth. And that is why I'm sharing this information with you. That's why I do these lives. That's why I have my events like my Ignite Your Intimacy event that's happening live this Saturday, where I'm teaching women about the power of taboo topics and subjects such as surrender. And learning how to surrender, if you could even say that, right? It's like surrender or be dragged. And that's happened to me many times and continues to do so. Learning how to surrender in my relationship and with my husband, I would say with my husband and not necessarily to my husband. And I think that's a really important clarification there, has given both of us so much in our relationship, in our bank accounts, in our businesses, in our family life, and in our overall health and happiness, because most of us learned how to fight with our man. Most of us learned how to try to fight or push or dominate in order to get our needs met. And we learned these tactics from other women or other sources out there that didn't necessarily even have the kinds of relationships that we want to have with our male partners. They weren't having it. And then we're like perpetuating these ways of doing things or getting what we want that leave nobody happy, right? Because the truth is that if you're not happy in your relationship, chances are your man is not happy in the relationship either. And instead of going from that place of compromise or lose-lose where nobody's getting really what they want, what I want you to have the experience of is a win-win relationship, or what I like to call a 100-100 relationship, where you get to show up as your full 100 and he gets to show up as his full 100 too, so that you both get exactly what you want and need. And even more so because you guys are combining forces together, you're joining forces, so you become limitless. But most of us are on a warpath. Most of us have gone through so much trauma and so much hardship and also so much indoctrination, where we have been led to believe that our men are fully bad or fully evil or lazy, or they don't want to share the load with us. They don't want to help us, that, we have to fight them in order to get what we want. And while we might need to use that tactic sometimes, when it comes to your husband, when it comes to your boyfriend, when it comes to your partner, you don't have to treat him that way in order to get what you want and need. And in fact, there's really juicy and pleasurable ways that you can show up in relationship with your man that feel really good for you and that feel really good for him, and that co-create a cycle where you're joining forces and building each other up, instead of negotiating and nagging and fighting each other to try to scrape by to get your needs met. And that's why I want to talk about surrender today, because most of us are terrified to do that. Most of us are terrified of the concept. Even when it comes to the word, we hear the word surrender and we think loser. We hear, if I have to surrender, that means I have to give up what I want. That means I'm never going to get what I want or need. That means that my man is going to have it all, that I'm going to have nothing, that I'm going to get the scraps that left behind. And I just want to like put my hand on my heart because that's so painful. That's such a painful thing to realize, that you think about your partner and about the situation that you're in, that you're expecting the worst. And because you're expecting the worst, because you're already expecting not to get your needs met, and I get it, for a lot of you, you haven't been getting your needs met historically. You have had terrible experiences. I 100% understand. But if you're going to keep living out from that story and taking actions and showing up energetically from that wounded place and from that place of expectation to be disappointed, you're just going to get more of the same. Remember, 100 relationships mean that we're both showing up in our relationship and we're both co-creating together. So without fault or blame, you showing up and how you show up has drastic, like incredible ripple effects and possibility for you, and what you can change in your dynamic and what you can experience with your man. It's not only what he has to do or what he has to change in order to make you happy. So feminine surrender is something that I needed to learn about because, in all honesty, I came from a family of refugees to this country. They didn't know about personal development. We didn't know about new age topics. We didn't, frankly, have time for that stuff because they got here with nothing and they had to build from scratch. And what I learned about relationships is what I saw modeled around me from a powerful mother, who was building a business and who taught me so much about strength and getting what I want. But when it came to relationship, what I learned about relationships and getting what I want, what I saw was all about, how do you fight your man? How do you boss your man? How do you tell him? How do you, being frustrated? And I didn't want to continue that dynamic with my partner because, again, I don't want to be a nag. It doesn't feel good for me. It doesn't feel good for him. I don't want to be the one running the show all the time. It doesn't feel good for me. It doesn't feel good for him. And I had to learn how to let go. I had to learn how to let go of the grip, the unconscious grip I had to control everything because I was afraid that if I didn't do that, things wouldn't work out. I wouldn't get what I needed. My needs wouldn't be met. I had to let go of that energetic way of being in my relationship and surrender, surrender energetically so that I could allow my man, so that I could create the space for him to show up in his 100 instead of me fighting him all of the time to try to force him or motivate him or push him to do what it was that I thought he needed to do or be what I thought he needed to be in order for me to be happy, in order for me to feel safe. And how it felt at first to let go of control was really, really scary. I'm not going to lie, right? There were so many trauma responses and automatic reactions that I had where I would be catching myself, like getting involved in stuff when I didn't need to be getting involved, like, becoming a manager when I didn't need to become a manager, injecting my opinions and what was supposed to happen when it was none of my business. Okay. And I'm bringing this to you as my personal example because this is what I teach so many women. Women, we don't understand, we don't realize that we're doing this. We think this is what has to be done because when we are bosses, when we are running our companies, these are the tactics that we learn out in the world to get what we want and what we needed. Thank you. Yeah, if you do love this, if this does resonate for you, please click share with your friends or comment or tag. Let me know that you're here and watching this. I'd love to have a conversation with you about this. It's so fucking important. This is exactly why I'm having my live event on Saturday, my Ignite Your Intimacy event, because I'm teaching a very powerful practice that changed my life and my marriage. And that's all about energetically making the shift from being in control to allowing yourself to surrender, to enjoy the juicy deliciousness of letting go and letting your man in. And it's an energetic thing that you do. It's something that you can practice. It's not something that you only just like decide from your head, right? While your body the whole way is like, no, what are you doing? Stop that. It's so important to do this because we don't realize how much of a death hold that we're holding on the relationship and staying in control and forcing things to be a certain way, while all the way we're complaining, why isn't he doing this, why isn't he showing up for me, why isn't he taking charge? And every time he does or tries to, we knock him out of the way, we criticize him, we say, it's just easier if I do it, or you don't know what you're doing, or you don't understand, or you're not doing it the right way. So many of us are doing this in our relationships, not realizing how we're contributing to the exact situation that we don't want, and neither does our partner. And how it feels when you start to let go, how it feels when you start to surrender is incredible, right? There's the scary moments of like, okay, maybe I'm not going to get involved and let me see what happens. Let me see if I don't run the schedule, if I don't clean the house all the time, if I don't always, interject with the way that I think it's supposed to be. Are things going to fall apart? Is anyone going to do the dishes? Is anyone going to show up for me? Is anyone going to take care? Is anyone going to support me in the way that I need to be supported if I'm not making sure that happens? And the answer is fucking yes. The answer is yes, because for so many of us, you are brilliantly partnered with great men. You didn't marry some asshole that doesn't give a shit about you. You married a guy that you love and that loves you. So give him the opportunity to show it to you. Energetically allow him, right? Without forcing him, let him in. And the way that I do it is by being lazy and by leaning back. Right? So what I'm teaching in my Ignite Your Intimacy event on Saturday is all about, it's called Lazy Lover. And it's all about doing less because most of y'all are doing so damn much and it doesn't feel good for you. And in this frenzy, in this busy frenzy of always getting stuff done, we are we're getting in the way of letting our man show up and be next to us in this way that feels so good. Women that are watching this is your invitation to please let go. Like, even, I don't even know how you're sitting right now. Join me, let go, lean back and take a breath. And this is just the beginning of what we're going to be getting into on Saturday, where I'm going to teach you how to energetically make that lean back shift, how to become more juicy, how to become more receptive, how to open up in this way that feels so good for you, and that feels so good for your man. Because when I am like this, when I do this practice, it's like the whole vibe changes in my relationship, in my room. Like when I first started doing this, I wasn't telling my husband, I was just like practicing this. He would ask me like, are you doing magic right now? Like what is going on? Like he was like giving me the side eye, like, what are you doing? Because it's so palpable, the effect that it can have when you learn how to work with your energy in this kind of way. And the best part is I'm just inviting you, okay, to do something that actually feels really good for you, that you actually want to do more of in your life, which is to lean back and feel more supported and to let your man step up more and for him to show up in a way that feels really good for you. But remember, if you want him to show up, I'm talking about 100 relationships. I'm talking about both of you taking full responsibility. How are you showing up in that dynamic? Are you showing up ready to receive? Are you showing up open to him stepping up? Are you showing up and creating a space where something new can happen, where he can wow you and where you can just like, ooh, that feels so good. Because that's why my relationship is so good. That's why my relationship is so fun and so juicy. And I've been with my husband for almost 10 years at this point. And we've had our ups and we've had our downs. It's because I learned to chill out and to energetically make a shift that allows a space for him to be the man that I want him to be and that he wants to be too, because it feels good for him to be like that next to me and how good I feel. I want you to know that you have the power to do that. You have the power to do that right now. This practice that I'm teaching, by the way, you can do it while you're driving, while you're doing the dishes, while you're sitting on the sofa, while you're, working. That's how easy this practice is. But it's so mind-blowingly, like it just shifts so much energetically. I do these practices before I go live because I want to feel this way. And me feeling this way, me being in my radiance, me being in my juiciness, me being in my pleasure, it means that I'm fun. It means that I'm lit up. It means that I feel good. I feel sensual. It's the way that I want to feel in life instead of waiting for other things to happen in order for me to feel that way. And the gift that you get is the gift also that your partner gets in this, which is this life force, juicy energy that you start to tap into where you don't feel drained. You don't feel overwhelmed every day. You don't feel frustrated. You don't feel burnt out because you're tapping into this energy that's already inside of you, and you get to invite it, and you get to invite this other part of you to play, to have a seat at the table, to be part of your life. And when your man feels this energy, when my man feels this energy, like, the way that he shows up, the way that he touches me, the kind of chemistry that's between us is so powerful, so loving, so sexy. And I want you to have it. I want you to know that that's possible. Okay. So it's not about fighting your partner. It's not about forcing him. It's not about, giving him even clearer instructions. It's not about, demanding your rights. It's not about those things. I mean, you could try those things if you haven't, or if you have been. Are they working for you? Are they giving you what you want? Are they giving your man what he wants? Are you guys happy in that? Are you getting the results or the response that you're looking for? And if the answer is no, I'm going to invite you to surrender. I'm going to invite you to allow him to have the space to be the man that you want him to be. And I'm going to invite you, I'm going to ask you if you're ready and if you desire to let it feel as good as it's felt for me and all of them women in my Goddess Wife School and that I work with as my private clients. I want you to have this tool. I want you to have this experience. I want to teach it to you this Saturday in my live event, my Ignite Your Intimacy live event, because you can have that dynamic in your relationship. You can feel that way. You don't have to wait for your man to do anything to be any different. You are that spark. You have that energy inside of you. And now it's just time to unleash it. So I'll take another deep breath with you. Roll my neck and shoulders. I hope this was helpful for you. If you had any questions, just leave me a comment. If there's a woman that needs to see this, and I feel like all women need to see this, especially everyone that is really stuck right now, feeling like, emotional labor and the mental load and everything's falling on our shoulders. This is the answer. This is the answer that you've been waiting for, and I really want you to have it. So I'll see you on Saturday. Leave any comments or questions here, and I'm loving you so, so much. Have a great day. Bye.